If you're a DTC brand founder, chances are you've poured a ton of effort and budget into driving traffic to your Shopify store only to see visitors leave without buying. Maybe your ads are killing it, your products are awesome, but your landing page just isn't converting. You're not alone. This is a common pain point for store owners. In this video, we're going to tackle why your Shopify landing page might be leaking potential sales and how to fix it using a simple psychology-based framework. Imagine this: you check your analytics and see plenty of people visiting your storefront, but very few actually clicking add to cart or completing checkout. It's like throwing a party and no one's dancing. Today we'll introduce a framework grounded in customer psychology that pinpoints the conversion killers and flips them into conversion boosters. By the end of this masterclass, you'll know exactly how to optimize your landing pages for higher conversions with real examples from brands like Allbirds and Gymshark to show you how it's done. Stay tuned because we are diving into proven principles from modernized AADA and PAS copywriting formulas to visual hierarchy and mobile optimization. We'll even do a live breakdown of a successful landing page and show you what makes it tick. Whether you are struggling with slow sales or just looking to squeeze more revenue out of your traffic, these tips will help you turn your Shopify landing page into a conversion machine. Let's jump in. Alright, first things first, let's talk about what might be hurting your conversion rate right now. Think of this as an audit of common conversion killers that plague many Shopify stores. Identifying these is step one because you can't fix what you don't know is broken. Here are some of the top conversion killers and how to spot them. Let's start with slow loading speeds. In today's shoppers are impatient. If your landing page takes more than a few seconds to load, visitors just bounce. In fact, 53% of people will leave a mobile page if it takes longer than 3 seconds to load, according to Site Build report. Every second counts. A 1 second delay in mobile load times could slash your conversion rates by up to 20%. A slow site is literally costing you sales. Next up is too much clutter and distraction. Less is more for high converting pages. Remember that. Many founders make the mistake of cramming everything onto one single page. Multiple banners, pop-ups, different products, long paragraphs of text. This overwhelms the visitor. Remember, simplicity sells. If your landing page has too many competing elements, also called as analysis paralysis for the shopper, they won't know where to look or what to do, and they'll simply end up doing nothing. The common offenders include autoplaying carousels or sliders that shift content too fast, or multiple CTAs or calls to action that confuse the user. According to Instant, 59% of e-commerce sites use overly distracting homepage ads or banners, and this can backfire. If you're showing a carousel, ensure it's done right or not at all. One study found only 41% of sites with carousel ads implement them without usability issues. Think about that. The safer bet often is to use one single static hero image with a clear message instead of a flashy carousel, unless you've optimized it well. Not showcasing your best stuff or USP. Another conversion killer is hiding your best-selling products or your unique selling proposition way down the page, or not showing them at all. New visitors won't automatically dig to find what's special about your brand. You have to spotlight that. Think about it. If you sell coffee and your USP is that it's sustainably sourced and tastes amazing, shout that out early. Too many brands neglect to feature their top products or their brand's key benefits up front. On a high converting landing page, you'll often see a bestseller section or a bold statement of what makes the brand unique right below the hero. DTC brands that put strong focus on their USP see big benefits. Don't hide your greatness. Shine a light on it. Next is lack of trust signals. Ask yourself, does your page make a new visitor feel safe and confident buying from you? If you lack social proof and trust indicators, it could be silently killing your conversions. No reviews, no testimonials, no press mentions, and a generic design that can make your site feel untrustworthy to a first-time visitor. People are naturally hesitant to part with their money online, especially on a site they've never bought from. They look for cues that your brand is legitimate and your product is as good as you claim. Things like customer reviews, star ratings, security badges at checkout, or even logos of publications your brand was featured in can boost your credibility. One e-commerce manager noted in a review that adding a reviews app boosted their conversion by 19%. That's huge. Simply displaying what others happy customers think or how many people have purchased can tip a wavering visitor into a buyer. We'll talk more about tools that easily add these signals a bit later. Last, but definitely not least, is poor mobile experience. This is a big one in 2025. Mobile shoppers often make up the majority of traffic for DTC brands. Yet many landing pages still feel very clunky on phones. If your site isn't mobile optimized, meaning it doesn't load fast on phones, the text is too small, buttons are hard to tap, or images or videos don't display correctly, you're turning away a lot of potential customers. Here's a telling stat from Topcart. Shoppers add to cart on mobile 52% more often than on desktop, but they end up checking out much less. In other words, people want to shop on mobile, but something, more likely friction, often stops them from completing the purchase. That friction could be anything, from slow load to a clunky checkout form on a tiny screen, to a pop-up that's hard to close on mobile. We'll dive into mobile optimization soon, but take a quick look at your own site on your phone, experience it as a customer. If anything annoys you or feels slow there, it's a conversion killer that needs fixing ASAP. Now let's talk about crafting a landing page that grabs attention and drives action. We'll use two classic copywriting frameworks, AIDA and PASS, with a modern DTC twist. Don't worry, no jargon here. These are simple formulas that work because they play into basic human psychology. First up is AIDA: attention, interest, desire, action. This is a time-tested framework, but it's incredibly relevant to your Shopify landing page. Modernizing AIDA means applying each step to your page sections. First up, attention. The very top of your landing page needs to seize attention. This is typically your headline, hero image, or banner. Think bold, clear, and benefit-driven. For example, instead of "Welcome to our store," use a headline that speaks to a pain point or desire of your customer. If you sell noise-canceling headphones, a headline might be "Silence the noise and elevate your focus." It's immediate, speaks to what the user cares about. Gymshark, for example, often uses a punchy one-liner headline on their banners like "Same flex, just a little flexier" for a new workout collection. It's fun, on-brand, and eye-catching. The key is to stop the scroll. Use an interesting image or video in the background that complements your message. A strong and persuasive headline can capture a prospect's attention in seconds. Second, interest. Once you have their attention, you need to build interest very quickly so they keep scrolling. This is where your subheadline or short opening paragraph is coming in. Explain what your product is and why it's different or better in a concise way. Highlight a benefit or a unique feature that would make your target customer think, okay, tell me more. You might also tease a story here. For example, a subheadline could add, "Our headphones use AI-powered noise cancellation so you can find peace anywhere." It builds interest by introducing a cool factor. Many high-converting pages will also use a few bullet points right under the headline to list key benefits because bullets are easy to skim. Remember, the goal is to get the visitor interested enough to continue down the page. At this stage, addressing the visitor's needs is crucial. What's in it for them? If your brand has an interesting mission or origin, you can hint at it to pique curiosity. For example, designed by former Navy acoustics engineers. It should be something that intrigues. Third one, desire. Now you've got them interested. You need to stoke their desire for the product. This is the body of your landing page where you can expand on benefits, features, and most importantly, show social proof. This is where you answer, why do I need this? How will it improve my life? Use images and perhaps a quick explainer video and copy that focuses on benefits more than features. Instead of saying our blender has the Turbo Blend 3000 motor, say blend smoothies in 10 seconds, no chunks. Paint a picture of the outcome. Storytelling is very powerful. Share a mini case of how your product helped someone, for example. You can include a testimonial like, "I struggled with city noise while working from home until I found these headphones. Now my productivity has skyrocketed." If this is from a happy customer, it not only builds desire, but it's showing the product's impact. It also serves as social proof. You can also list out differentiators that are different from the status quo. 5 times longer battery than our competitors. These specifics make the desire more concrete. High converting DTC brands offer sprinkled trust badges and press mentions or user-generated photos in this section to reinforce desire with credibility. It's like saying, not only is this product awesome, but other people love it too. By the end of this section, the visitor should be thinking, this looks amazing, I want it. Finally, A for action. This means a clear and prominent call to action button. For most Shopify stores, it's buy now, shop now, or adding to cart. Make sure your CTA stands out. Don't hide it. You can have it in multiple places. A button after your intro, one after the benefits section, especially on longer pages. Also, reduce any friction that might stop them from taking action. For example, if you offer free shipping or a money-back guarantee, mention that near the CTA as a final nudge. A small text saying free shipping and 30-day guarantee right below the button could help remove hesitation. The action stage is where all the interest and desire you built is translating into clicking that button. You can even inject a bit of urgency or scarcity ethically here. For example, only today, 15% off for new customers or limited stock available, and use those only if they are true statements. These elements are tapping into FOMO, fear of missing out, and improve click-through. We'll talk tools to add timers and low stock indicators later. Second is problem, agitate, solution. This is another copy framework that is golden for landing pages, especially if your product solves a clear problem, which most do, right? PASS works like this. Identify the visitor's problem, stir up the emotions or pain around that problem, empathetically, of course, then present your solution as the hero. It's storytelling in a 3-step format. First one is problem. Lead with the pain point your target customer is facing. This shows you get them and immediately hooks anyone who has that exact problem. For example, if you're selling an eco-friendly toothpaste, the problem could be a traditional toothpaste tubes create millions of tons of plastic waste. That's a problem your eco-conscious customers care about. Or if you're a skincare brand, struggling with acne that just won't go away, in a landing page context, this might appear as a bold statement or question at the top or as the first section title. It might even be your headline. The key is to resonate with an issue the viewer recognizes in their own life. When a visitor reads and thinks, yes, I do have that problem, they are hooked to learn more immediately. Second one is agitate. Now that you've touched the problem, you agitate it, meaning describe the problem in a bit more detail and emotion so the visitor really feels why it's important to solve it right now. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about empathy and urgency. For the toothpaste example, you might agitate by painting a picture. Every tube of toothpaste you've ever used is still sitting in a landfill or floating in our oceans. Gross, right? You're making the visitor feel the weight of the problem. If it's acne, you've tried product after product, yet each morning there is a new breakout staring back in the mirror, sapping your confidence. This stage is where you nod along with the frustration they're experiencing. It's important to strike an emotional chord. Remember this. A word of caution. Keep the tone empathetic, not overly negative. You want the person to think, man, this problem is a big deal and this brand understands what I'm going through. This is the most important. Many effective landing pages use a short paragraph or even a short video to agitate. For example, showing footage of the problem scenario, like piles of plastic waste or a person looking frustrated in the mirror. The idea is to make the problem vivid. This sets the stage for your product to swoop in as the answer. Solution. Now the hero arrives. Your product or service is the solution to that pain. This is where you introduce what you're offering, positioned exactly to solve the problem you just highlighted. And continuing our example, meat bite the toothpaste bits. Toothpaste without the tube. Then you'd briefly show how it solves the problem. These minty fresh bits in reusable glass jar, no plastic, no waste. Finally, a way to brush your teeth that's good for you and the planet. Boom, that's a problem solved. Notice how the solution is framed in direct reference to that problem. If it's the the acne scenario, introducing Clear Skin Serum, a new approach that targets breakouts at the source. No more trial and error, just clear and confident skin. Ideally, you tie it right back to removing the pain they feel. This is where you transition into benefits and proof as well. Much like the desire stage in AIDA, show before and after if applicable. Share a quick success story. On many landing pages, the PASS framework might be used in the hero and the section right below it. For example, a headline is calling out the problem, a subheader agitates it, and then a bit of copy or the next section introduces the solution and its benefits. This formula is powerful because it's narrative. It takes the visitor on a mini journey from pain to relief, which is emotionally satisfying. A lot of D2C brands unknowingly use PASS in their landing pages because it's so intuitive. Let's take a real example. Bite toothpaste, the one with chewable toothpaste tablets. On their site, they emphasize what you might be doing wrong right now, using plastic tubes. That's the problem and agitation, and then present their product as the fix, highlighting the eco-friendly solution. Another example, think of a brand that sells, let's say, blue light blocking glasses. A PASS-driven page might start with first a problem, you're staring at screens all day and your eyes and sleep are suffering. Agitation, ever lie in bed for hours unable to sleep because your brain is wired from late night laptop work? It's not your fault, it's the blue light messing with your melatonin. And the solution. Our blue block glasses filter out 90% of blue light so you can work late and still sleep like a baby. See how that flows? You can almost feel the relief when the solution appears. Modernizing PASS just means keeping it customer-centric and genuine. But today's consumers are savvier. They respond to authenticity. So when you describe the problem, you truly empathize. Maybe you or your founders experienced it too. Share that. When you agitate, do it with sincerity. You really want to help them solve this. And when you present the solution, don't oversell with hype, but present proof. That could be a quick stat. 90% of users saw improvement within 2 weeks. A testimonial or a demonstration. The combination of PASS with evidence of success is conversion gold. It not only appeals to logic, this product solves my problem, but also to emotion, hope and relief that my pain will go away. Using AIDA and PASS together is possible. These frameworks aren't mutually exclusive. In fact, you can use PASS to craft the top section, hook them with problem solution, and AIDA to structure the overall page flow. Both emphasize understanding your consumer's mindset, which is the psychology we're leveraging. By clearly addressing their needs and emotions at each stage, you make it a no-brainer for them to convert. Take a moment to think about your own landing page copy. Are you following an AIDA or PASS flow? Or is it kind of all over the place? You might find that just rearranging your content to fit these frameworks, ensuring you have a strong attention hook, or leading with a problem that you solve could immediately make your page more compelling. Don't worry if it feels theoretical. Next, we'll get very visual and talk about design and layout, which is just as important as copy in converting visitors. Let's move to visual hierarchy and how the design psychology of your page could guide your customers' eyes to where you want them. Okay, so you've got great copy using AIDA or PASS. Now, how do we design the page so that a visitor actually reads that copy and doesn't get lost or overwhelmed? This is where visual hierarchy comes in. Basically, the art of guiding your visitors' attention through design. It's psychology meets design. Humans naturally look at certain things first on a page, and we can take advantage of that. In simple terms, visual hierarchy is about making the important stuff look important on your page. You want to control what people see first, second, third, and so on, in a way that leads them toward your CTA. Let's dig right into it. So, how can you implement visual hierarchy on your landing page? Here are some key principles. Headings and size. Your most important message, likely your headline, should be one of the largest text elements on the page. Use a clear, easy to read font. Subheadings should be smaller than the main headline, but still stand out relatively to body text. For instance, if your headline is 48 pixels, make subheaders 24 pixels approximately, and body text 16 pixels, depending on your font of course. This sizing difference creates a hierarchy. When someone scans the page, they'll naturally read the big text first, then medium text, subheading. This means you can craft your subheads to tell the story for scanners. Many visitors skim first, they don't read. Ensure your headings basically summarize your value. A trick: read only the headings on your page in order. Do they convey a compelling story? If yes, you're doing it right. Second is color and contrast. Use color to make important elements pop. Typically, your CTA buttons should be a high contrast color relative to the rest of your design. What this means: if your brand palette is mostly blue and gray, maybe your CTA is a bright orange or green. This should be a color that's not used anywhere else, so it pops. If you notice, on many Shopify stores, the Add to Cart or Shop Now button is a distinct color. Shopify's default themes often use that concept, like a bright accent color for buttons, so don't worry about it if you're just starting with Shopify. Also, use color to draw attention to messages. For example, if you have an urgent announcement or a sale, a red or bold colored banner will get noticed as something important. However, don't go crazy with the colors. Too many colors can themselves become a clutter. It's usually best to have a clean background, white or light, and one primary accent color for actions. White space or negative space is also your friend. Having breathing room around that element implicitly tells the viewer, this is important. Focus here, because there is nothing else around to distract. For example, if you have a testimonial quote you really want people to see, don't sandwich it between two images. Give it some padding and maybe a subtle background shade to set it apart. Next up, imagery and focal points. Images are powerful in guiding eyes. We naturally look at human faces and where those faces are looking. A clever hack: if you use a photo of a person on your landing page, have them look or gesture towards your call to action or headline. I know, it sounds a bit silly, but it works. Our eyes will follow the line of sight. Also, use high quality, relevant images that support your message. If you sell a physical product, show it in use. That's a must. If you're emphasizing a benefit, for example, comfort or ease, show an image that conveys that emotion. And one note, avoid generic stock photos that don't add any meaning. Custom, real imagery are performing much better on landing pages. In fact, sites with inspiring custom-made imagery outperform those with bland stock photos, according to Baymert Institute. So invest in some good photos. It pays off in conversion, I promise. As for placement, usually the hero image or background video is the first thing people see on a page. Make sure it's relevant and not just there for decoration. It should either show the product or evoke the feeling you want the user to have. Layout patterns. Studies of how people read web pages have shown common eye movement patterns. On desktop, for example, many scan in an F pattern, reading the top line, then down a bit, then across, forming an F shape. Or a Z pattern, across the top, diagonally down, across the bottom. You don't need to get too deep into the science, but the takeaway is: put important elements along the top and left for F pattern, and generally organize content in a top left to bottom right flow. For example, many landing pages will have a headline on the left, an image on the right, because Western users' eyes start at top left, hit the headline, then move to the image. Or a big centered column for content is also common to force a vertical flow. The key is consistency. Don't make someone zigzag in an odd way. It's confusing. A clear hierarchy might be hero section, centered headline and image, that benefits section with maybe icons in a row. We read left to right each benefit, then a full testimonial quote centered, then a product section with an image on one side and text on the other. Each section should have a visual cue of where to start reading, usually a slightly larger subheader at the top of the section. Think of each scroll depth of your page having its own mini headline or title. This way, Even if someone scrolls fast, the headings catch their eye and tell a story. Next, emphasis and visual cues. Use bold or highlighted text sparingly to call out really crucial points like a key phrase in a paragraph. Also consider visual cues like arrows or pointers if appropriate. For example, an arrow pointing at the sign up box can literally direct attention. Icons can also help draw the eye and break up text. For instance, if you have a short list of features, if you put these in a little check mark or relevant icon next to each, can make that section more engaging and easier to skim. Remember, users skim, they don't read. One more aspect of visual hierarchy is keeping things consistent and easy to digest. If your design is consistent, same fonts and color scheme and style of images, the user isn't expending mental energy figuring out how to read the page. They can just absorb your message, which will make your product sell. And conversely, if each part of your page looks wildly different fonts, random colors, it creates a huge cognitive load and might break trust. It just feels off. Also, you should consider the text length on a section-by-section basis. Large blocks of text are conversion killers because they appear daunting. It's better to break text into shorter paragraphs or bullet points. A fascinating insight. Landing pages with around 300 to 350 words or fewer tend to convert better on average, likely because they force you to be concise and visitors actually read the whole thing. Netflix's landing page, for example, is famously simple, fewer than 200 words total, relying on a clear headline and clean design, and that works for them. Now, not every brand should do this ultra minimalist approach, but the principle of less is more holds. Every sentence, every image should have a purpose. If it's not helping build interest, desire, or action, you should consider cutting it. A quick exercise for you. After this video, do a squint test on your landing page. Literally, just squint your eyes and see what stands out when the details blur. Do you immediately see the headline and the CTA button? Or is your eye drawn to some weird element like a logo or a background pattern? The squint test often reveals if your visual hierarchy is off. You want to blur of your page to still communicate the main thing you want people to see. By getting your visual hierarchy right, you essentially lead your visitor by the hand through your page in the order you intend. This pairs perfectly with the copy frameworks we discussed. For example, using ADA, make sure the attention element, the headline, is huge and high contrast. The interest subhead is right below it and stands out. The desire might be in smaller chunks but accompanied by eye-catching images or icons for each benefit. And the action button should be large and maybe even sticky. More on that in the mobile section. Speaking of which, visual hierarchy can differ on mobile and desktop, which is a perfect segue into our next topic: optimizing for mobile, where majority of your customers likely are browsing. Let's ensure your beautiful design and copy actually translates to those smaller screens. We've hinted at this already, but it's so crucial that it deserves its own focus: mobile optimization. In 2025, if your landing page isn't mobile friendly, you're leaving a huge chunk of money on the table. Mobile e-commerce is massive. More than half of online traffic is on mobile devices. Yet, as we mentioned, mobile conversion rates tend to be lower than desktop, largely due to friction. So how do we fix that? How do we ensure our landing pages convert on mobile, not just look okay? Here's a checklist of strategies and tips to optimize for mobile users. First up, responsive design or mobile first design. This is non-negotiable. Your Shopify theme or landing page builder should automatically make all your pages responsive. Most modern ones do, like Replo or Shogun, for example. Responsive design means the layout adjusts to different screen sizes. But don't just trust it. Test it. Open your site on various devices: iPhone, Android, and tablet if possible. Make sure images resize correctly and text isn't cut off and there's no horizontal scrolling. On mobile first approach means you actually design the page with the phone screen in mind first. You prioritize what mobile user needs to see. Often, this means using a simpler layout. For example, multi-column section on desktop might stack into a single column on mobile, which is fine. Second is fast load times. We talked about site speed as a conversion killer. On mobile, it's even more crucial because mobile networks can be slower and devices less powerful than desktops. Ensure your images are compressed for mobile. Use Shopify's built-in image optimizations or install an app that does that. Consider removing any heavy scripts or videos on mobile if they are not necessary. According to Google, as page load time increases from 1 to 5 seconds on mobile, the probability of a user bouncing increases dramatically. The goal is under 3 seconds load time as per Google's recommendation. Every second faster can improve conversions. One stat showed that cutting load time by just 1 second boosts conversion rates by 5.9%. If coding isn't your thing, there are apps like Shopify's online store speed pack or optimizer apps that can minify code and defer scripts. Also, you should consider using AMP, accelerated mobile pages for content-heavy pages, or a service like Cloudflare to speed up delivery. Basically, you should treat site speed like it directly impacts your revenue because it does. Next up, easy navigation and CTA access. On mobile, screen space is limited, so you want to make it super easy for users to navigate and take action. This might mean using a sticky navbar that's always at the top with a clear menu, or even better, a sticky CTA button. For example, if your goal is to get them to add to cart, you can have a bar at the bottom of the screen with an add to cart or buy now button that's always visible as they are scrolling down your page. Many Shopify themes or apps allow adding a sticky add to cart bar on product pages. A great idea, since it means the user doesn't have to scroll back up to find that button. Ensure that your menus are mobile friendly, usually a hamburger menu icon. Keep your menu options limited, maybe home, shop, with subcategories about and cart. If you have too many menu items, consider simplifying for mobile or using an accordion style menu. Also, make buttons big enough. They should span a thumb's width ideally. Apple's design guidelines suggests a minimum of around 44 pixels tall buttons for touch, so don't make someone pinch zoom to tap your CTA. Next, avoid mobile pop-up annoyance. We've all been there. You go to a site on your phone and immediately a giant pop-up appears, maybe asking for your email, and you can't even find the tiny X to close it because it's off screen or too small. That's a conversion killer. If you use pop-ups, ensure they're optimized for mobile. They should be easy to close, not cover the entire screen. Google even penalizes sites that show intrusive pop-ups on mobile. Alternatively, use more subtle banners or inline offers instead of pop-ups for mobile users, or trigger them only when the user scrolls or is about to exit. Since there's no cursor, they usually trigger on back button or fast scrolling up. Streamlined content. Mobile users have less patience for long content. Try to condense your copy and use visuals smartly. Use collapsible sections if needed. For example, an FAQ accordion is great on mobile to save space. Users can tap to expand the questions they care about. This way, your page doesn't feel endlessly long. Also, keep paragraphs extra short for mobile. 1 to 2 lines per paragraph is fine. Large blocks of text will help like a wall and likely won't get read entirely. Bullet points and icons, as I mentioned in visual hierarchy, shine on mobile because they break info into bite-sized chunks. Touch-friendly design. Beyond big buttons, think about other touch elements. If you have forms, let's say, make sure the fields are easy to tap and type into. Use the right input types, for example. Use the email input type so that on mobile, the @ and .com keys are easily accessible on the keyboard. If you have any interactive elements or custom widgets, test that they work with touch gestures. Sometimes hover effects on desktop don't translate to mobile since there is no hover on touch screens. So ensure anything that relies on hover is also accessible via tap. Test on multiple devices. Don't just test on your mobile 14 and assume it's great for everyone. You should try smaller, older phones if you can, or use Chrome's developer tools to simulate different devices and screen sizes. Make sure things aren't getting cut off. It's kind of diligence that separates an okay mobile experience from a great one. Consider a mobile app or app-like experience. This is a bit beyond landing page, but worth mentioning. Some DTC brands have found success using mobile apps or app-like experiences. For example, brands using solutions like TapCart, which turns your Shopify store into a mobile app, often see higher conversion rates on their app than their mobile site because apps could be more streamlined. A high converting mobile app can eliminate many web friction points like save login info, Apple and Google Pay in one tap, and others. If you're not at that stage of launching an app, which most of the people won't be, I guess, you can still incorporate some app-like features. Enable Apple Pay and Google Pay and Shop Pay buttons on your product pages for one-touch checkout. Those are huge for mobile because typing credit card info on a phone is a pain, and we should reduce friction at any given stage, right? Shopify makes it easy to have these express buttons, and you should definitely use them. Also consider SMS as a follow-up. If someone abandons cart on mobile, an SMS nudge might bring them back more effectively than email. These play into mobile user habits. To illustrate how mobile optimization could pay off, remember the stat. People add to cart more on mobile but don't check out as much. That implies interest is there, but friction in the later steps stop them. If you smooth out those steps, fast loading, easy browsing, and quick checkout, you stand to gain a lot of conversions than otherwise slip away. We're basically trying to close the mobile conversion gap with desktop. If your desktop conversion rate is say 3% and mobile is 1%, challenge yourself to get mobile closer to that desktop number. In practice, this might mean redesigning a few elements on your landing page specifically for mobile. Shopify and most page builder apps like Shogun, Pagefly, and GemPages let you show or hide elements on mobile versus desktop. Use that power. Maybe you have a wide image gallery that looks great on desktop but is hard to swipe on mobile. You could hide that on mobile and instead show a single static image or a simplified slider that has big swipe buttons. Or if your desktop view has text next to an image on mobile, you might stack the image above text for a better flow. Lastly, think about context. Mobile users might be on the go. They might be multitasking, so emphasize the most compelling info higher up on mobile. You may not have the luxury that they'll scroll through 5 sections, a technique some brands use. The mobile landing page might be a slimmed down version with a link like learn more that jumps to additional info. Or they put a summary at top just for mobile users. The bottom line, design for thumbs, very important. Literally, imagine a person holding their phone with one hand, scrolling with their thumb. Can they easily navigate and tap through your page without adjusting their grip or getting frustrated? If yes, you've done a great job. Alright, with copy, design, and mobile optimization in your toolkit, the last big piece of the puzzle is understanding some design psychology and using tools to further persuade and reassure your visitors. Let's get into those subtle psychological triggers and some apps that can help you implement them. This section is all about the subtle and not so subtle psychological tactics that push a customer from I'm interested to I'm sold. The idea of a psychology-based framework really comes to life here. We want to design our landing page in a way that aligns with how people naturally think and feel when shopping. It's like stacking the deck in your favor, ethically, of course. Let's break down a few key psychological principles and trust elements and how you can apply them on your Shopify landing page. First up, social proof. Humans are social creatures. We look to others to decide what we should do. When it comes to buying, if we see that lots of other people have purchased and loved a product, we are more inclined to trust and buy it ourselves. You should leverage this via reviews, testimonials, ratings, and user-generated content. If you haven't already, integrate a reviews app like Junip, Judge Me, or Loox, and display star ratings and reviews prominently on your landing page, especially near the product or CTA. Mention number of customers if it's impressive. For example, join 10,000 plus happy customers. If your product has been featured in the media or by influencers, show that. For example, a section with logos of Wired, Forbes, and other logos of prominent media outlets, or a quote from an influencer or expert. Real example is Olipop, a popular healthy soda brand. They put a review widget and saw a significant conversion lift, as noted earlier with the app called Junip. Also, those little as seen on TikTok or Instagram gallery sections, that's UGC. Social proof, showing real people using the product. It builds trust and relatability. Another effective social proof tactic, FOMO notifications. Those tiny pop-ups that say John from New York just purchased this, these can create a sense that people are actively buying your product. Just don't overdo it if you have low sales volume, because obvious, fake, or too frequent notifications can break trust. Next up, urgency and scarcity. This plays on the psychological principle that people are motivated to act when they feel they might miss out on something. Limited time offers or limited stock could push a hesitant buyer over the edge to purchase now rather than later or never, God forbid. You can incorporate urgency by highlighting deadlines, sale ends at midnight for example, or order within 2 hours to get it by Christmas. For scarcity, things like only 3 left in stock or 500 units sold this week and running out fast can be super effective. Shopify apps like Hexstum let you easily add countdown timers, low stock alerts, and other urgency badges to your product pages. For instance, you might have a banner at the top of your landing page that says holiday sale, 20% off, and Sunday, and maybe even a ticking clock. On product sections, you could show X amount of people are viewing this right now or selling out fast, if that's true, of course. However, use this ethically. False urgency can backfire if customers figure it out, and it could harm your brand reputation. When real urgency exists, seasonal sale, low inventory for example, don't be shy to shout it out. It absolutely can increase conversions by giving that final nudge. Think of it as helping customers not procrastinate a decision they'll be happy about. Trust and security. If you're asking someone to pull out your credit card, especially on a lesser known brand site, you need to assure them it's super safe. Include the trust badges near the checkout CTA, like secure checkout with an icon. If you have a money back guarantee or warranty, display a badge or text for that. These reduce the perceived risk of buying. Another trust signal, honesty in your copy. Don't make outrageous claims that trigger skepticism. Modern consumers have a good BS radar, so if your product has a minor flaw or isn't for everyone, it's counterintuitively good to be transparent about it. It builds credibility. For example, you can add a note saying, our shoes are made of natural wool, so they're not 100% waterproof, but they'll keep your feet cozy in light rain. Funnily enough, Allbirds had a situation like this. Their wool runners got criticism for not handling rain, which they addressed by innovating a more water-resistant version, which they now advertise as storm ready. That honesty and improvement builds huge trust. If you have certifications like 100% organic or fair trade, for example, show these logos. If you're a local business, mention your location. Some customers trust knowing there's a real team in a real place behind the brand. Moving on to authority and expertise. This is related to social proof, but in a slightly different way. It's about showing why you're qualified or why your product is superior from an expert standpoint. If your team has expertise like formulated by doctors or designed by athletes, mention that. If an authority has endorsed you, even a micro authority like a niche blogger or a professional in your field, include a short quote. For example, a fitness brand might feature a quote from a well-known fitness trainer saying how great the product is. These things tap into the authority principle from Cialdini's principles of persuasion. Essentially, people trust advice or products more if they come from an expert or authority figure. So think, who is an authority your audience respects, and how can you associate your product with them? It could even be yourself, your story, or credentials. For example, as a mom of 3, I struggled with finding healthy snacks, so I created this. That establishes you as an authority by experience. Next, consistency and branding. This might not sound like psychology, but consistency in your messaging and branding helps create a cohesive story in the customer's mind. If a user clicked an ad to get to your landing page, make sure the message and style match what the ad promised. This is called message match, and it's super important. For instance, if your Facebook ad said get the comfiest shoes ever, 20% off today, when they land, the page should prominently say something about comfy shoes and that there is a 20% off deal. Remember this, very important. If it's inconsistent, the user gets confused or doubts they're in the right place. That doubt can absolutely hurt your conversion. Consistency in design, like colors and fonts, also conveys a professionalism which subtly builds trust. An off-brand or sloppy-looking page suggests maybe the business is sketchy or small-time, even if that's not true. Design Psychology 101. A clean, modern design will instill more trust than an outdated and cluttered one. Users might not consciously think, this site looks old, I won't buy, but subconsciously it affects their confidence. So if it's been a while since you updated your site's look, investing in a fresh Shopify theme or a design overhaul can actually boost conversions. Last but not least, storytelling and emotional connection. We touched on storytelling in copy, but let's reiterate in the context of psychology. People remember stories far more than facts. If you can incorporate a story element on your landing page, whether it's your brand story, a founder story, or customer story, you create an emotional connection. Emotions are a huge driver for purchasing decisions. For example, Allbirds, we mentioned earlier, their story of using sustainable materials and even addressing a product flaw, choose to conquer the storm after improving their design, as I mentioned before, is a narrative of innovation and listening to customers. It gives shoppers a reason to feel good about buying. They are part of this story of sustainability and improvement. Storytelling can be done visually too. Maybe a short video on your page that shows the problem-solution journey or an illustration of how your product came to be. One popular approach is the founder's note style section, a letter or message from the founder about why they started the brand. This can humanize the shopping experience, making the visitor feel like they're buying from a person, not a faceless company. It builds trust and relatability. Now, how to implement these on Shopify? Thankfully, Shopify's ecosystem has a ton of apps and built-in features to inject these psychological triggers. For social proof, apps like Judge Me or Looks for reviews, or FOMO for live notification pop-ups. Even a simple testimonial slider section would really help. For urgency and scarcity, Hexstum is great. It can add things like countdown timer banners, low stock alerts, and trust badges. There's also an app called Countdown Timer Bar by Hexstum and others for urgency. Some themes come with stock inventory display for products, and this really helps as well. For trust and security, often just some custom HTML or an image can suffice. Apps like Trust Hero can add badges easily. And obviously, enabling SSL on your store, which Shopify does by default, which is great, is a must. That padlock icon in the browser gives assurance too. For authority and story, this is more on you to provide the content. But using a section of your landing page to add a bit of text with an image can do it. No special app needed, just the right content. Page Builder apps or the new Shopify Online Store version 2 editor lets you add rich content really easily. If you want to get fancy, some brands use quiz apps to personalize the story, like a quiz that diagnoses the customer's need, then shows a tailored product, which also psychologically invests the user, since after taking a quiz, they are more likely to convert due to the effort spent. Don't forget analytics and iteration tools. Psychological optimization is not one size fits all. Use heat maps with Hotjar or Lucky Orange to see where mobile users tap when they scroll, where they get frustrated. Maybe people are trying to click an element that isn't clickable. You can discover that and fix it. That's a UX improvement, but rooted in understanding user psychology. Also, run A/B tests if possible. Test a version of your page with a different headline or with versus without a countdown timer, for example. Apps like Intelligence can help you scientifically validate what works better for your audience. For example, you might test if adding only X amount left increases conversion or not. Let data inform you, because psychology can sometimes work in opposite ways on different audiences. The big picture here is reducing anxiety and amplifying excitement. Every element on your page should either reduce a potential concern, for example, is this legit? Will this work for me? What if I don't like it? Is it worth the price? Or boost a positive emotion. This is popular, people love it. I'm getting a good deal. I feel connected to the brand's values. I don't want to miss out. When you hit that sweet spot, addressing the little voice in the customer's head that says, I'm not sure, and playing to the one that says, this would be awesome to have, convergence follow. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. From identifying problems to implementing frameworks, designing for both large and small screens, and using psychological triggers and tools. Now, to cement all this, let's look at a real case study, a breakdown of a successful Shopify landing page that puts many of these principles into action. Let's take a look at how Allbirds absolutely nails their product landing page for their weather-repellent running shoes. Right at the top, you're hit with a clean, full-width hero video showing the shoes being used in wet conditions. It immediately communicates the product's purpose, water-repellent shoes that actually perform. There's no confusion about what you're getting here. You have two buttons right at the end of the video, and as you can see, they are placed at the bottom 50% of the screen, easily reachable with your thumb, and very prominent on the semi-transparent dark overlay of this video. As you can see, this is also not scrolled all the way down, so this video is not like full width. It doesn't create something that's called false bottom in design. It actually shows that there are like other pieces of content underneath. Right after the video, they have like an image of the product in action. As I mentioned, very important. It's shown like these crispy clean shoes in like wet conditions. As we can see from the image, it clearly has been raining outside. Scrolling down, there's a very short paragraph, just a few words explaining what the shoe is. Take the stormy weather in stride with the Wool Dasher Mizzle, a running shoe that uses premium natural materials to help give you extra grip and keep your feet dry when the forecast is anything but. So it continues this story that they have started right at the beginning. Run in the rain, and they're explaining what the shoe is all about. Scrolling down, we have another lifestyle image. As I said, you can't have like enough of these. They're very important for your customers, showing these products in action. Here you have a very short section with features, like it immediately addresses most common objections that your customers will have should this be your page. Is it durable? Yes. Rigorously tested. Run confidently knowing we logged thousands of miles with 50 plus amateur and pro athletes over a year-long testing period. Is it water repellent? Yes, it is. Soft and itch-free on the inside. The ZQ merino wool upper helps keep your feet dry thanks to our breathable bio-based shield treated with fluorine-free water-repellent coating. Is it sustainable? Yes, it is. The Wool Dasher Mizzle is carbon neutral thanks to the combination of sustainable practices. So they have addressed all of the objections that their customers might have when landing here. Once again, they have a lifestyle image that clearly shows a woman running with Shop Women button, very prominent and big, easily reachable with your thumb. I won't get tired of repeating this. Then you have Shop Men in similar fashion. Notice how the Shop Women is first. This may be a cue that like more women are buying this, hence they have placed this first. Well, maybe it's not the case, but from my experience, I think that's why they did it, to reduce the scroll time, especially for women. So if a woman is reaching here, she can like immediately click this button. Then you have Shop Men in similar fashion. And then right at the bottom, if you're not convinced yet that you should buy this, they have listed 3 benefits for their approach: wear all day comfort, sustainability in every step, and materials from the earth. So if you haven't been convinced that you should buy this shoe up until now, this is like the very last resort of the page that is trying to convert. As you can see, they have used like a lot of the principles that I have talked about in this video. If you wish, I'd be more than happy to audit your own product page. Just reach out to me in the comments or just drop me a message on LinkedIn or YouTube itself. I'll be more than happy to do a quick audit for your page, completely free, no questions asked. Thank you very much. We've covered a lot in this session. Thanks for sticking with me. By now, you should understand how to hook your visitors with an attention-grabbing intro, keep them engaged with persuasive copy frameworks like ADA and PASS, and guide them with smart design and psychology-based tactics. I'm willing to bet you'll see an uptick in that conversion rate once you start making these changes. And let me know how it goes. Seriously. I'd love to hear back from you. Drop a comment, share what change had the biggest impact on your store. If you have questions or want more tips, ask away in the comments too. I'd be more than happy to help you. If you found this video valuable, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more deep dive e-commerce tips. We regularly share insights on improving your Shopify store, from conversion hacks to marketing strategies, so stick around. Thank you for watching. Now go forth and turn those landing pages into conversion magnets. Until next time, happy optimizing and happy selling.